Hello and welcome to the show. I am driving 3 more vehicles till destruction today around the Endurodrome on BeamNG Drive, and we start with the Regency, a very large American boat. Now, plus points. Wobblematic suspension. We saw with the Miramar, Wobblematic suspension can do pretty well. Downsides, pretty large overhangs. I think they might get caught up on stuff. Not sure how much power the engine's got in this one. I have given it a manual gearbox because I didn't want to fight with, I think actually quite a powerful version, judging by the speed off of the line. Yeah, I didn't want to deal with the terrible automatic gearbox, although the radiator's already gone. That's not a good sign for a car. I mean, admittedly, we did just jump an old boat, and there's probably quite a lot of weight coming down on the front to clonk the radiator, but that is not a good start. I mean, at the end of the day, with the engines not being preheated, we will have some time now for the car. It'll probably have a couple of laps. It depends on how bad the leak is. I mean, that was a very, very innocuous bump, so it might not be too terrible a leak. When we saw the Grand Marshal back on the first series of Driven to Destruction with a leaky radiator, but it kept going for ages before it did eventually die. Although the temperature on this has shot up immediately. Okay, this engine is running quite warm, which is a little bit of a concern. Oh, we're going to go and plough our way into the mud. We do not want to get stuck here. If we get stuck here, it's going to be a real pain trying to get our way out. I mean, if the radiator couldn't survive the bump, there's no way in hell it's going to survive that. Regardless, very bad things have gone on with the rear axle. We've lost the entire rear axle. The most impressive thing, though, is that we have not lost drive. Oh, dear. Never seen that failure before. The entire rear axle has... It's somehow the gearbox, or somehow the diff and the driveline is still connected to the gearbox. And I don't know how. Oh, that's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. I mean, there's no way we're going to survive any length of time around here with that. Something's surely got to give with the... Oh, no! Come back down, wheel! Oh, it's very bumpy down. I should probably look where I'm going more than laughing at the rear axle doing peculiar, strange things. Something's going to go snapping that across one of these bumps. I mean, if this goes out from overheating and the rear axle's doing that, that would be like an impressive record to have got. You know what? I think third gear's kind of good. Control is gone out the window ever so slightly. Uh-oh. I'm not sure I'm going to have very much heading up. And then we need to actually hit this jump pretty quick. Oh, bugger. No, don't twist wheels up any more than they already are, please. Oh, it's come back down again. Yeah, the rules for this series are I have to drive the cars hard. I have to race around here as hard as I can. I mean, in conditions like this, I am limited by what I can do, especially in a particularly powerful vehicle like this. Oh god, that's a really unhappy angle of everywhere. That's a that's some serious serious axle bouncing, wheel bouncing, and I don't even know anymore. We've lost an exhaust. Yeah, I cannot be flat out in this car because we no longer have the control at all to even vaguely hope to be flat out. I will still try and drive it as hard as I can, but you're very, very limited by what you can do. Steering is actually still okay. The front steering is okay. Everything's gone wrong at the rear. Speed bumps, I was actually fearing the speed bumps were going to be a big issue for this car. The speed bumps are not too shabby, although... come on, wheels, has the axle finally... Oh, no, there we go. If one wheel's completely stuck in the air, we'll have real trouble putting any drive down, because I don't think the diff is going to let it go, but if we can get that wheel on the ground, just touching enough to help us crawl along, that would be good. Uh-oh, we're going to bounce and bounce and bounce and still make the turn, though. I mean, it's not with very much speed, and it's not going to do much additional damage to the car. Not that much, additional damage is really needed. How are you still alive, car? There is definitely no way that this thing should be surviving this. Want to know what's still holding the rear axle in place, other than just beam magic physics. We'll have to have a look. Oh, that's a big shift for the axle. If that's not going to come back down, oh, thankfully it is. Okay, the rocks are not going to be fun. The rocks are not going to be fun at all with this car anymore. So what did the damage in the first place? If we hit that wrong, we are going to be in a lot of pain. We might be in a lot of pain coming through here because this is going to be big crunches on that rear axle. What's left of it? We're still good. Still got through all of that. Please don't catch on a rock somewhere. Oh, okay, we are through. I mean, the overheating is not actually too terrible. All things considered, like the overheating, we got to kind of half temperature, not too bad. Oh, that's some more heavy blows to the front of the car. We got to like the halfway mark on the temperature gauge, and I was very concerned that we'd overheat before the end of the first lap, but it has kind of slowed down a little bit. I guess it wasn't the worst radiator leak we have ever seen. Other thoughts, other problems have become greater than my concern about the radiator. This is just a battle to even keep this on the road, even vaguely going in a straight line. I don't think we're going to anymore. We are going to go off the course, although I think we're still going to be able to recover this. Possibly. Yep, we are. If we get an even slightly more bent chassis, how are you still at 4 miles and still going? I mean, this isn't even going to be in last place. The entire rear axle has been dislodged for a lap and a half. And I mean, the temperature's gone down. The temperature's actually gone down on this car because we spun it and had to have a lift while we sorted it all out. The jump. I thought the rocks were going to kill it. This jump is going to be problems because we've got to hit it at about 60 if we want to make it. But going at 60 is sketchy at best. We're probably not going to make it cleanly. Oh, the wheel's going to stay on. I mean, the wheels are still on the car. Now, if I get it beached, I am allowed to pull the car free. That was one of the rules with the various obstacles around here, like speed bumps and damaged cars. I am allowed to pull the car free if it is beached, which this one here very much was on that rock. Okay, we've got a central rear wheel going on now. I'm not quite sure how we've got a central rear wheel going on. I'm not sure the tyres would have liked this very much. Or we've got some real wheel hop happening. Some real bad wheel hop happening. I don't know how. The fuel tank hasn't got ruptured. There's no way this thing should be still limping around in this state whatsoever. Oh, we've overdriven it a little bit through the petrol station. We're going to make it. We're going to complete another circuit around here. Oh, please go further than the sunburst. Please go further than the sunburst. That would be quite impressive. Oh, I'm really worried we're going to have a wheel snap off when we go across one of these bumps because there's just no suspension movements to help us at the back. Or one of the wheels. Okay, so are we crabbing? Okay, we are now crabbing. There are new problems going on for the Regency. It's not giving up, goddammit, but there are new problems with it. We are limited to about 30 or so miles an hour. I don't know if I want to shuffle the axle free again. No, okay. I think all of the rear suspension is gone, so any sort of movement from that rear axle is completely gone. Oh, I've lost steering. I have lost steering on the. Oh, I think I've lost steering. I might well have lost drive. Now, it might just be beached. I'm going to do a quick nudge around to see if we have still got any form of movement. We have, but we have got to be able to get it through the chicanes and then still accelerate away to above 20 miles an hour. Otherwise, it will be counted out with steering damage. We are through the chicanes. Can we crack 20? We have cracked 20. So it is still able. In fact, we've now cooled the engine down a little bit from that. Okay, this is now pretty poorly. We've got one wheel working for steering. The entire axle is now locked at a crabbing position. I mean, this is the sort of destruction that you want. This is the sort of destruction and falling apart you want from cars in this series, and this is why I have come to this particular circuit, because it is great at doing unusual things. The engine's got blowing up on a speed bump. I can't... Really? Of everything that could have happened to take that car out, because I couldn't steer it away from that speed bump, we just went across them, and that's what did it. The engine got exploded on a speed bump. Nothing to, well, I say nothing to do with the fact that, I mean, can we lift up the back of that car to have a, I mean, the axle is not in a position that you ever want to have an axle in a car. You know what? You know what? You might not get anywhere near the Miramar in terms of distance, but I will say, spectacularness, the Regency is going to be really tough to beat. Well, it was always going to be a tough act to follow after that amazing feat of survival. What can our little Fiat 1, the pretend Fiat Uno, manage around this circuit? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not sure. Oh god, I'm not sure we're gonna quite manage to spin over the first 2 jumps. Not sure we're quite gonna be able to survive as well, although I didn't really expect the Regency to be able to survive. Certainly not in the way that it did. So you never really know what you're gonna get out of these cars. Oh, we'll slow it down through that section across the speed bumps. Now, not quite wobble-matic suspension on here. It's not exactly the stiffest sports suspension you ever did see, but it isn't the wobble-matic like the Regency. We are likely to suffer not as bad bouncing as the Sunburst, but we are likely to get pinged around by speed bumps. Well, I mean, the mud section we're coming up towards is not going to be great. Our steering is already a little bit buckled from these initial sections. Nothing terrible, just a little bit tweaked. We can manage with that. It's really, how long is it going to be for the radiator? The radiator go, the car's, again, turbocharged, small engine. Oh, we're fine across the rocks. Actually, very surprised. Turbocharged small engine is not great because they get very hot without a radiator. Oh, that's okay. Bad things have gone on with our front. Our front right wheel is not looking. Oh, those rocks have not done kind things to this car. Again, rocks are pretty mean to the Fiat. Oh, we're going to have not fun times down here. Christ, we're going to just bounce around like mad. Come on, little car. You can do it. You can crunch. There goes the radiator. Okay, overheating might play a part in this. I said when I started this series, we're perhaps not going to see as many cars go out through overheating. I do still think that's going to be the case. A car like this, if the wheels are strong enough to survive the punishment that we're going to give it, we might see overheating go. Oh, because it's going to probably overheat pretty quick. Upside down is not good news for the little Fiat. I am allowed to... Oh, okay. Worst news for the Fiat is a ruptured fuel tank. I believe that did not happen from me dragging the car over. I believe that went on its own from the roll. So, yeah, that's... Are we going to overheat? Are we going to have a wheel axle failure? Or are we going to... Ooh, we're going to spin around. That's not what we want because that's costing us time and valuable fuel. Fuel is going to be draining out of the car. A weak fuel tank. We have seen cars go out. Rare, but we have seen cars go out from ruptured fuel tanks and burning through all of their fuel. Come on. Cross the things. I mean, the car's overheating anyway. Even without that ruptured fuel tank, I don't think we would exactly be going far here. Oh, and now there's a lot of fire. I'm not sure whether that's from the fuel tank or whether that's from something in the air. That's actually a very big fire. That's from more than just the fuel tank, I think. Oh, the barbecue Fiat, it's gone. It's run out of fuel. It will coast ever so slightly. I mean, something was going to get many different things were going to get that car. The front was broken, the fuel tank was gone, the engine was overheating, and it ended up with that. A big explosion. A big explosion and a lot of fire. Yeah, I mean, it's another spectacular sight. Not the same distance or the same weird way, but well done on the spectacular sights. And to finish off a spectacular episode, we have quite possibly one of the most amazing car mods I have seen on this game. This is the Firehawk. It is a very heavily modified Moonhawk with a V12 Merlin engine in the front. You might have also noticed it's got an extra pair of wheels. Yep, we have got a 6-wheeled Moonhawk with a Spitfire engine and 4-wheel steering at the front. It's mad. I almost feel bad. I say I always feel bad. I do feel bad for destroying such a vehicle. I'll have to do a video on driving it and not destroying it because it is just such an unbelievably crazy vehicle. I absolutely love it. However, Well, I do fear for the length of the car. It's not a small vehicle. It's not a small vehicle, and around a course like this, well, there's just more bits to get hit. Whether it be in crashes, whether it be in the jumps. It's also bloody quick. It's also very fast indeed when you can get that power down. Perhaps one of the benefits, I mean, if we lose one of the front wheels, I mean, we've got like a spare steering rack essentially going on, so it might actually be quite hard to kill the steering in this car. I also do suspect, though, that there is a lot of weight over the front. I have a feeling that we could end up getting bananas to the point where the front is actually barely touching the ground anymore. Also, power, well, there's a lot of it. It's not particularly easy to drive. Oh, okay, we're going to skate our way through the mud pit. We will, thankfully, just about get free. We will be clear out the other side. I don't know what the radiator's like in this. I mean, it could be badly exposed. It could be quite well hidden, quite well stuck in there. That didn't sound good. It sounded like something went snap, but it all looks okay at least for now. It's not flapping. Oh, that's not what I wanted to see across that jump. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Everything is. I mean, everything isn't awesome, but everything is just about in one piece on the car, and everything's facing the direction that it should be. All of the front wheels are aligned, okay, maybe not perfectly, probably won't be perfectly after this. Something's going to get twisted. Yeah, okay, the front wheels are not perfectly aligned, as you would probably expect. However, they are still doing a good enough job of driving. Got to be kind of in the right place with the engine to find some power, otherwise you're going nowhere. Yeah, that's probably about all of the speed we're going to want to be taking across there. Oh, the rear axle doesn't look healthy. If we're going to have another story of a car with the rear axle just completely giving up the will to axle, or whatever it is that they do. It's again loosely sat. Not as loosely sat as the Regency, but it's not exactly a textbook way of mounting. Yeah, you can see the back of the car is hanging off at a bit of a weird angle. That's going to be a heavy clonk on the floor. Through the speed bump section we go. Chuck the car about a little bit. Yeah, some of the front wheels are a little bit buckled. We're still working enough for steering. We're on to our second lap with the Firehawk. Hopefully, well, we're going to go further. That's where the Fiat gave up. Oh, no! No, Firehawk! Oh, the Firehawk gave up at a... well, I mean, kind of at the same place as the... Well, sort of at the same place as the Fiat, just in a slightly different way. All of that weight clonking around, bouncing around, and that would lead to a drive shaft failure. Nothing we can do about that. The drive shaft goes on it, where you can actually see the way the gearbox... I think what it is that does it is with such a long... It's got a very long drive shaft in this car, from that engine and so on, with the front twisting up as it gets hit and hit and hit. It bends it up in such a way that the drive shaft... Well, you can see the gearbox gets twisted at such an angle that it can then no longer have a drive shaft to the rear wheels. The drive shaft was a goner. I mean, the rear axle wasn't healthy. The drive shaft was a goner in that, and that would see us dead. We did roll further than the Fiat, so at least it won't be a last place. I guess we kind of didn't destroy the car too badly. It's an incredible machine, though. I mean, this thing is fantastic. Well, that rounds up a very spectacular, in many ways, episode of Driven Till Destruction. On to our leaderboard, and the Regency will go into a third place. Now, while technically the distance counter read as greater than the Sunburst, it didn't make it as far around lap number 3, I believe, certainly with the way the diff on that car and the rear axle of that car was broken. It was just spinning the wheels, and the distance counter was, well, counting. It was wonky on that. However, it did still make it onto a lap number 3, and the fact that it made it that far is remarkable in itself. The fact that it wasn't even the wonky axle that killed it is even more impressive. That's, I think, got to be one of the most spectacular destruction runs we have ever seen. The Firehawk, an amazing looking car. However, the drive shaft would put pay to that run. Just too much damage at the front, twisting the engine at an awkward angle on lap number 2. And the Fiat, well, that'll go into a 6th place, but I'm sure there will be cars that will fall apart quicker. A combination of draining fuel tank, a big old fire, and an overheating engine all came together to see that car very much dead indeed. That, though, is going to be it for this episode. As ever, I shall link all the mods used in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.